Okay, and we're continuing our discussion about the strategy for the lighter side, white. These are blue, but I'm going to call these white. So the next thing is that you want to isolate pawns. Black. You want to force black to isolate their pawns on the edge of the board, especially on the edge. And you do this by moving the king so that it's a forced move. And you're going to prepare, to attack this pawn with the king and two of his men. It's usually how the game's won against more difficult players to play. So, who play black. So let's just say we're in the middle. These guys are over here somewhere. We're in the middle of a game, but you sort of have black's pieces set up maybe somewhere in this proximity. So basically, how do you force that? If the king's here and he wants to attack the side here, they can that's making it easy for you. A beginner might do that, and you're on your way. But a good player, a more advanced player, will probably do this. And then if you move here, he's probably going to move here and then here. He does a good job, getting to addressing your attacks there. The other thing, if you move here, he might, the same thing, he might isolate that, make it really easy for you, then you start bringing out your pawns to attack him. But, that's a better player would do that. So, but there is a way to get it to be a forced move, forced isolation where he has no choice. And that's just moving here to attack this square here. So now, no matter which one he moves, he's forced to isolate. So now he's forced to isolate this one, and then you can start bringing down some pawns to attack, or even better, he's forced to isolate that one. So there's no other way for him to get out of check than to isolate a pawn. All right, the next thing we want to do is that next rule for you to concentrate on is that it always takes two pieces when you're playing a difficult player. Once again, who black's just not going to roll the red carpet out and make it easy for you by capturing and giving you undiscovered checks and stuff, or discovered checks and stuff. It always takes a king and two of his men. The king always needs two men to help him win the game when you're playing a really good player. So it never is just the king and somebody else, or the king by himself. Again, in corner tablet, a lot of the time the king could get it to the corner by himself. But here, when you're playing somebody really good, it's really hard. So you always need the king and two guys close to him, and make something work. The next thing is that when you're playing the white side here, you want to look for a situation in which black does not have enough pieces to defend the number of open squares on the edge, and that's sort of a mouthful to say, but and it's not, you don't have to memorize that one or write that one down per se or whatever, but let's just say, I don't know, let's say this guy's gone, maybe he attacked him or something, and it's just basically saying take a step back from the board sometimes from the game and take a look, just a bird's eye view, and see is there any place else to attack that would where white could benefit. So here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 open spaces here on the edge, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, really 5 black pieces. So you have 6 open spaces, just 5 black pieces. So you sort of have them outnumbered. You don't have them outnumbered by men. It's just by open spaces to men who can cover it. So you don't have to count squares and just count men, but you basically, it's just a reminder to pull back from the game sometime from a bird's eye view and see if there's a better spot to attack. The next rule of advice is that you want to practice playing the open game. Don't get because the open game is you're more likely to win the open games. We're going to discuss it even further in openings, but it's basically when you play an open game, then you're acting more quickly. You're aiming for a faster game, and like we said before, faster games are usually won by white, and slower games are usually won by black. It's not always the case, of course, but that's just what we found usually happens, because just over time, black has to move. Since he has twice as many pieces, he doesn't have to move the same ones over so much over and over again, but white does. So black is basically gaining time to cover all of white's options. It's a little easier for longer games for him to do that. So you want to make sure that you're keeping your open game up to speed. The next thing is you want to try to attack two sides at once, and it's usually always try and attack two sides at once, and it's usually two sides that are adjacent to one corner. And again, when we look at endgame, we're going to see that's because the king moves here to attack this one, and then it's blocked here. It's blocked here. He moves forward there. Black makes moves, and then now he's attacking. So he's sort of alternating in between the two sides there. So you can also, there's a game, maybe I'll show it someday, but there's a game where one of the masters was attacking two opposite sides and making black lose time over here, and eventually won the game on this side. But so always keep that rule in mind. The next one is you want to utilize pieces that are behind the black barriers. So let's say you moved here, and then black moved here. You'll see a lot of players make that move because he's building this diagonal here, so black's next move is probably going to be there, and you want this. I don't personally do this a lot because I don't like to attack diagonals, but some players will do that. See, he landed on a safe space here in order to give himself an option when black moves there. Now he has an option of attacking, because if he didn't move out there, when this is closed, now you can't attack any of these pieces. But you'd have to, if he was out here, you'd have to do it pretty well and at the right time, or else it's not going to be very, very beneficial to you. But I don't like to do that move. A lot of people like to do that strategy, but give it some thought. Try it out. You're basically utilizing pieces that are behind the black's barriers in order to try to break up the barrier. And the last thing is you don't want to abandon an unfinished attack too early. Unless necessary. I see a lot of beginners do that. They'll be attacking down here and then won't finish the attack because maybe they got distracted from on another side of the board. So the first attack may have had a potential. The other thing is you want to watch for forced win opportunities. A lot of people, they have the game won and they don't finish through it because they don't know what to do. So you want to just watch for when that happens to you. Then you can learn from it. The next thing is you want to practice looking for escapes, and you do that by reviewing your lost games. So when you're playing black and you notice that white was able to easily escape, find out at what point he did that. Write your games down, look them over on the internet. And the very last thing is you want to capture important pieces. Not every piece is important. You want to be discerning when you decide which pieces to capture. A lot of beginners, this guy comes out here, or black makes a move, and you immediately start trying to capture it. Well, if you're already on a good space, like on the beginning of the game, this would be a good space. Don't get so distracted just with every move that black makes that you try and capture black every time black makes a move near you. So just capture the important pieces.